Hello and welcome back. In this video we will finish up section 1.3. In particular, I want to look at the signs of the trig function. Note, sign here meaning either positive or negative. So as we saw before, sometimes the trig functions can be positive, sometimes they can be negative. And I just want to quickly go over roughly when does this happen. So when we're describing the trig functions, what we want to focus on, what quadrant is our angle going to be. So for instance, quadrant 1 is going to be in the upper right hand corner. All of our x and y values are going to be positive. So here, if we look at this point here, and this is going to be x, y, x is going to be over here, and y is going to be over there. So when we look at x and y, we also have our distance, which is going to be, again, the square root of x squared plus y squared. But you'll notice that the square root of a number is always going to be positive if it exists. Unless it's 0. But in this case, r is going to be the distance from the origin to this point. Distances are always positive. So when we look at this, x is positive, y is positive, and r is positive. So no matter what trig function we're looking at, x, y, and r are all positive. So if I take x divided by r, y divided by r divided by x, x divided by y, it doesn't matter which one, they're all positive. So in particular, maybe the sign of an angle is positive. Since x is positive and r is positive. So in quadrant 1, all of our trig functions are going to be positive, since x and y and r are always going to be positive up here. But let's look at quadrant 3. So quadrant 3, so 1, 2, 3, down in the lower left-hand corner, the x and y values are negative. So here, for instance, if we look at the x value and the y value, the x value is going to be to the left, so this is going to be a negative x. Y value is going to be down, so this is a negative y value, but r, again, is the distance from our point up there, so r is positive. So x and y are negative, and r is positive. So sine, which is y divided by r, y is negative, r is positive, so this is going to be negative. So the sign of an angle that stretches into the third quadrant is going to be negative, because we're going to take a negative number divided by a positive number. But the tangent, for instance, down here, the x value is going to be negative and the y value is negative. So when we write the tangent as y divided by x, y is negative, x is negative. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So what ends up happening is we just have to be a little bit careful. How do you determine whether a sine or tangent is going to be positive or negative? Well, we look at what quadrant we're in, and we look to see, is the x value positive? Is the x value negative? Is the y value positive? Is the y value negative? And by identifying which ones are positive and negative, and looking at your formula, you can tell whether or not the whole thing is going to be positive or negative. And I think this is where I wanted to end. I won't go through every trig function and look at where each one is positive and negative, but it all just boils down to understanding where x is positive to the right, where x is negative to the left, where y is positive up, and where y is negative, which is down. And that's how you determine whether or not a trig function should be positive or negative.